What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and this is going to be my in-depth analysis and review of Yanfei, and I will be going over the best builds that you can run on him for different game modes like Aether raids, Arena, and PvE. And I'll be comparing him with a lot of the units to show you that he is a really solid free-to-play unit that we've got. So he's a Gen 6 Sword Infantry unit with 182 BST. He does have a preferred weapon in Carnage Amatsu. This gives him +3 speed, and it also has distant counter built into it. If Yanfei is not adjacent to an ally, then it also gives him the speed based damage reduction. So being alone is not really all that hard for an infantry unit. You can just be one space away from your allies and still get the benefits of stuff like joint drive skills and other support from your allies. So pretty easy weapon to activate, all things considered. And he also has a really good stat spread to go with this weapon. He has got base 42 speed, and he also has a super boon in it, so it just makes him extremely fast along with his weapon, which is going to be giving him a lot of mileage out of his damage reduction. His attack is also pretty nice at base 37, and his bulk is balanced, so he can function as a really nice damage reduction tank in the enemy phase. He also comes with Kestrel Stance too, which is long overdue because he can fodder Yanfei and then inherit the higher level of Kestrel Stance from Seri and also inherit Close Call at the same time. So it definitely increases value of Seri as a fodder because her brother can provide you with the lower version of Kestrel Stance. So we have seen a lot of sword infantry units like him, but the reason why he's so good is because he is available as a free-to-play unit. You do not have to spend your orbs to +10 merge him, and there are a lot of really good things about Yanfei in general with his weapon, and I'll be showing you some comparisons. The first comparison is between the brother and sister, and it's honestly really painful to see because Yanfei completely dunks on Seri in pretty much every regard. Seri does have higher visible resistance, but the only thing that she gets from her weapon is going to be that -1 special cooldown compared to Yanfei's weapon, so he can get the damage reduction as well as run null follow-up in the slot B, which Seri cannot really do. You can also compare him with Ryoma. He's basically like a free-to-play Ryoma in my opinion, because this is a max invested Resplendent Ryoma with 15 Dragon Flowers, and this Yanfei here takes no orbs, only takes Grails, and only takes 5 Dragon Flowers. So you can have a really similar performance here, but at much lower cost of resources, because both of these units love using the combination of damage reduction with null follow-up. And we can also compare him to the modern 610 units like Brave Marth. Now Brave Marth is a lot more insane. He pretty much has everything that you could ask for in a sword infantry unit, and he also has Shining Emblem, but still, as you can see, Yanfei can still match up the stat spread at the very least, so he is quite competitive even though he's a free-to-play unit. And he can also have the combo of damage reduction with null follow-up, which Marth can also have. Now if you want to take the most recent comparison, then from this batch itself we have got Priam, who's a premium sword infantry unit with a distant counter weapon. And in my opinion, Yanfei just has a much better weapon, again because he can run null follow-up in slot B and not miss out on the damage reduction. Priam can only have one or the other, so it just goes to show you that in this batch itself, the free unit is better than a premium unit who takes hundreds of orbs to +10 merge and is a 5-star locked unit. So needless to say, Yanfei just is a superb free-to-play unit who has got distant counter and damage reduction built into his preferred weapon, and that frees up his slot A skill and slot B skill because you can run some other skills instead of running the distant counter and damage reduction like so many other sword infantry tanks, so definitely opens up his options. Yanfei also scores 185 BST in Arena even without using trade fruits, so it makes him one of the best, if not the best investment for arena scoring from the Grail pool. And I'm personally going to be investing into him because I have a pretty old arena core, and at this point I want to replace my Pala with a high scoring unit. And Yanfei is just perfect because in arena he can easily bait out ranged units because of his distant counter weapon, stuff like Ninja Korin, which are going to be a big nuisance, and she is a pretty common unit. So Yanfei can take on a lot of common meta threats, and that's why he's a pretty nice arena investment. Of course, he's not going to be something that is going to be making your tier 21 run insanely easy or anything like that, but he's just a very good, solid free-to-play unit who functions really well both in terms of scoring and his own strength in combat. So Yanfei can get both damage reduction and null follow-up, which easily makes him one of the strongest rail units as of right now in my opinion, along with Young Innes, who's also a really stacked free-to-play unit. And the best thing about Yanfei is that you don't really need to invest too heavily into him. He takes less Grails than someone like Ninja Shamir, who's a Tempest Trial unit. And because Yanfei is a Grand Hero Battle unit, he takes you less Grails and he's going to be getting more reruns. He also does not need any kind of trade fruit to reach 185 BST for Arena, and most of his premium fodder is already found in Divine Codes Part 2, as you'll see in the build section. So Yanfei is going to be a really popular unit which a lot of people are going to be building up, including me, and I expect to see him a lot in Arena in general. So one of the reasons why you may not want to invest into him is because you might not care for Arena scoring that much, and if you have already invested into many Sword Infantry units with this same damage reduction build, then he's not going to be that incentivizing for you. Like for example, if you're building up a plus 10 Brave Marth, then Yanfei of course is not going to be that impressive to you. But still overall, a solid option, and I'm really happy that we started off so good with Book 6 with this kind of Grand Hero Battle unit. Now for his builds, it's pretty straightforward. If you want to use him on a budget, then you can just give him the Link skill, and you can easily get the Link skill and reposition from Norn. That's pretty much all you have to do, and you can just run a solo Sacred Seal, which does synergize pretty well with the solo condition for his weapon that gives him the damage reduction. Now if you want to invest a bit more into him, then in my opinion, Null Follow-Up is pretty much his best slot B option, and this can easily be obtained from the Divine Code section. There are 2 Null Follow-Ups available there, and you can run a solo Sacred Seal if you want to have some player phase power, but you can also just focus on the enemy phase and have healing with Mystic Boost. So this is an enemy phase build, and the guard effect from the Kestrel Stance 3 is going to be much appreciated on a tank like this. But if you want to function in both phases, then you can run Attack Speed Solo 4 in Slot A and combine it with Rouse Speed Defense and also have a solo Sacred Seal. So this allows you to have extra stats in both player phase and in the enemy phase, but unfortunately you're not going to be having the guard effect. You can also stack up damage reduction on him by having Close Call, Spurn, or Repel in Slot B, and it will actually stack up with the damage reduction built into his weapon. Now just a quick recap, damage reduction stacks up multiplicatively, it doesn't stack up additively. So here, as we can see by the example, Dimitri gets 58% damage reduction with the assistance of Flame. Similarly, with that same formula, Yanfei here with Close Call and the damage reduction from his weapon can pretty much get 64% damage reduction. Now I would still not recommend this build, and I would still say that Null Follow-Up is by far the best slot B option, because this is pretty much putting all of your eggs into the same basket. In my opinion, Null Follow-Up is going to be helping you win so many other matchups where you're going to be facing units with follow-up negation, auto follow-ups and stuff like that. And if you're not running Null Follow-Up, then you're simply going to be getting doubled by all of those units, and it is going to be extremely annoying. So it's a lot better to make him versatile than just stack a bunch of damage reduction on him, which is going to be making him prone to getting doubled by all of the auto follow-up units. So I personally would not really run this kind of damage reduction skill on him over Null Follow-Up, but still it's an option if you just want to stack it up. Now, if you want to use him in Arena, then Kestrel Stance is going to be the best option from Seri, who is present in the Divine Code section, and you can easily get Null Follow-Up as well. Joint Drive Speed is optional, you can run some other cheap Slotsy skill as well, because he doesn't really need a 300 space Slotsy skill to get the max arena scoring, because he does have a preferred weapon already, but still it does help him with the damage reduction. And the guard effect can really be helpful against something like Ninja Lin, who does have a Brave Dagger and can trigger her special otherwise. Attack Speed Solo can give you some power for the player phase and just adds to his strength to speed stack so that he can get the max damage reduction and pretty much double all of the units. Now of course, if you do not have access to Ruptured Sky, you could run Gale Force or Aether, but Ruptured Sky being a 2-turn special is going to be best in this scenario so that he can get a lot of 1-round KOs. You can of course improvise with the fodder that you have, but this is pretty much going to be the ideal arena build for Yanfei in my personal opinion, and this is something I'll be running myself. Yanfei can also be used in Aetherite's offense with a Unity skill. This is pretty much the only time I'll recommend running a Unity skill on Yanfei, because all of the other times he prefers having Kestrel Stance, but Unity skill does protect him from the debuffs, and if you're going to be using him in the light season, then you're of course going to be facing Note, who does have Attack Speed Menace, and this also protects him from the Bright Shrine debuffs. So overall, Unity is going to be the best slotted skill for Yanfei and Aetherite's offense. And you can run him with a support unit like Brave Lucina or Muspel to just boost up his damage output and provide him some kind of support. And I do prefer using him in the light season because air can provide him with some extra resistance, so that always helps tanking the magical threats. and the combo of null follow-up and damage reduction is going to be making him a pretty solid tank, all things considered. You can also use him in the water season with Legendary Pilot, who can provide him with the null follow-up. So instead of running null follow-up in the slot B, you could run null counter disrupt in slot B. So this way you can have null follow-up, null counter disrupt, and damage reduction at the same time on Yanfei, all 3 slot B effects at the same time. So this is something that can be fun as a counter pick unit in the water season, but still most of the time you're going to be running this build with null follow-up, but still it's a pretty funny option to utilize null follow-up of Legendary Pilot. So that is going to be my review. Make sure to share this video with your friends who are thinking of building up Yanfei, because he's definitely going to be a popular option. And if you did enjoy this review, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more free-to-play analysis videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Siri after seeing what her brother can do. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.